Hey everyone, and welcome to another GameXplain discussion. I'm your host, Derek Bittner, and I'm joined today by Serebee's Joe Merrick to discuss the new Pokémon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon Japanese story trailer. So let's get started. Alright Joe, so we have a new trailer for Pokémon Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon, and it seems like this is the one that's finally gotten people really excited, at least based on the early impressions I'm seeing all around. And to be fair, this is a pretty hyped trailer, but what do you think of it so far? What is your gut reaction to this new story trailer?
Sweet vindication.
Yeah, that's right. You have been saying for a while that there seems to be more to this game than past third versions, essentially.
Yeah, I mean, they've said it from the beginning, but it's an alternate story. So when everyone's saying, oh, it's just the same as Sun and Moon, I'm like, they have said that it is not. Come on. And now they have finally shown truly that it really isn't.
Yeah, they're finally going all out to show what they're doing with the story. And I already enjoyed the story of Sun and Moon quite a bit. This just seems to enhance it to a greater degree. Like, it really seems to raise the stakes. At least that's what the music and visuals that they're showing off seem to be. There's these crazy structures in Ultra Space. They got this new team around. It's like, okay, they're really stepping up their game.
Yeah, and it really seems a lot more cinematic than any Pokemon has ever been. And that is a good thing, but I know a lot of people say it's a bad thing.
I disagree. I mean, one of the things I really enjoyed about Sun and Moon is how certain elements finally felt like it was like other RPGs. And I know some people might be against that because Pokemon should feel unique, should feel different. It shouldn't feel like other RPGs. But to get to that, it was more on a artistic side and a cinematic side, and I like that bit. Go big with Pokemon. They're capable of it. We have
absolutely
literal gods flying around this world. Let's do something with them, you know?
Yeah, I completely agree, and I am really glad that it's happened, and it's just a perfect showcase of the difference between the 3D engine and the sprite engine which we've had. Because just, 5 years ago when Pokemon Black 2 and White 2 came out, the story would have been nothing like this. You'd have like a small cutscene when like Kyurem fused with Reshiram and Zekrom, but you'd have nothing whatsoever like this. It has got the presentation up there, and I'm so happy to see it.
Just seeing the fact that Solgaleo and Lunala struggle against Necrozma before they get taken over by it, it just adds so much more effect. It shows that this is involuntary, and obviously, I'm not going to spoil anything about Sun and Moon for those who have not played it yet, but there is a lot more of a connection to these two legendaries than any other legendaries previously, just because of the story leading up to it. And I think that's just a great payoff where you finally get to see this bit, and then, oh no, it's back in trouble.
Yeah, I completely agree with that.
It's so good. So what major takeaways did you get from this trailer?
There's a complete overdominance of Ultra Wormholes and Ultra Beasts, which we wouldn't have in Sun and Moon because they were almost entirely relegated to the post-game, and you wouldn't see the Ultra Wormholes. But in the trailer, you can see, let me just scroll through quickly, at least 5 Ultra Wormholes in this trailer.
Yeah. And they're confronting more kahunas. Like, it really does seem like a bigger invasion of these Ultra Beasts. Like, we got a taste of that in Sun and Moon, but here it seems to be a much bigger deal. The question is, though, is whether the Ultra Beasts are going to be relegated to Endgame or part of the Endgame, or if they're still that post-game quest that they were in Sun and Moon.
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe it's going to be mixed. I mean, we know we've got the 2 new ones, which is amazing in itself that there's new Pokemon in a game which isn't the start of a new generation. But I think them being part of the story and seeing Necrozma come out of an Ultra Wormhole and seeing Necrozma in its Dusk main form just standing on top of an Ultra Wormhole, I think there's going to be a lot more Ultra Beasts in the main story. And even at the start, Burnett's mentioning about the Ultra Wormholes again, like she would. So I think that's the focus here. I think they are pushing the Ultra Beasts further in this.
Yeah, from what I can tell, and who knows how wild they're going to go with this, there seems to be a lot more exploration of Ultra Space. Like, I think at one point we even see our trainer in a suit in order to better handle Ultra Space and riding on top of, I believe it was Solgaleo, probably both of them, depending on your version.
Yeah.
And it's just one of those great moments. It sort of reminds me of Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire when you're riding on top of Rayquaza in space, that kind of thing.
An interesting thing to note, which you'll probably get to in your analysis, is that the suit that the player's wearing matches that mysterious team.
Yep, I did notice that as well, and we don't know much about this team yet. Like, we saw, like, they're in that poster artwork, and they were the only ones there. We didn't see the Ether Foundation, we didn't see Team Skull. Like, these are the only ones there. And I have seen a few people suggest a connection to Colress, but I'm not positive on that one. I'm not willing to go down that route yet.
No, I mean, I can see where they're going because it's like the white lab coat and whatnot. But I don't know, these people are a bit weird. I mean, when you look at them, look at Zionera, I believe his name is. He's got white skin, he's got a blue mustache and goatee. It's like there's something off with him.
Yeah.
So it's just hard to tell what we're getting into here. This is definitely a lot different than Sun and Moon. And that's fantastic.
Oh yeah, and seeing Lucamine in a position where she's not in power at any point, like that's interesting in and of itself. I don't know what they're saying, of course, throughout the course of this. I got to do some translations with an app to figure that out and try to get at least a basic idea. But it definitely seems like the stakes are so much higher this time around.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. I mean, my translation isn't good either, but this new guy, Zionera, he mentions about Necrozma taking light from Alola. Now, that's not a complete translation. That's just rough. I'd need to get my proper translators on it. But that brings up a whole new element to the story, because previously it was just, look at Lucamine, she's crazy, she wants to open Ultra Wormholes, but now it's like life and death stuff.
Yeah, exactly. We're back into the whole let's end the world type thing. It's like,
yeah,
crap. But yeah, I mean, having the Necrozma just matter that much this time around, like, that's a huge step up from what it was before, where it's just like, yeah, you find them at the end of all the other Ultra Beasts. There you go. Congratulations.
Yeah, I mean, the really interesting thing is, as you get to the end of the trailer, you see Necrozma on the top of Mount Lanakila, where you'd normally battle to be the champion, being encased in a golden light, and loads of gold lights going around you and Lily, and there's also a walk up to the pedestal where Necrozma is. It's like something weird is happening here.
Yeah, I'm not sure what it is. I mean, it's great to see Lily have still just as much of a role as she had before. I mean, obviously they have to have her there based on her connection to the Legendary, so of course she's going to want to be there. Yeah. That also tells me though that it won't be post game. This is definitely end game stuff. So something's going on there, and I'm not sure what. Like I think that's the great thing, is that it teased just enough that you know something big's going to happen, but you don't really know what's going to what actually is going to happen.
Exactly, and that's what makes this such a big change, the most enhanced version of an enhanced version we have had. Because with Platinum, you knew the basic structure, you knew what was going to happen. They just did the distortion world. With Emerald, they just made both teams be equal. But here, you can't even guess what's going on.
No, not at all. And that's exciting. I mean, we have, on top of the surfing that they've added, the 100 new Pokemon to catch, not brand new Pokemon, but new to the Alola region. And even just expanded roles for characters that didn't really seem to have much of a role the first time around. Like, I've been basically, like, rather than enhanced version, I've been sort of ballying it around as a director's cut, which is basically an enhanced version, let's be honest.
Yeah.
And that's just seeming to be the case more and more. And this is like the true version. Like, I honestly not sure if there's going to be much of reason to go back and play Sun and Moon after Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon releases.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that line of thought.
Not sure where it's going to go there, but as far as everything else, like, I want to say more about this, but there really isn't too much more to say without proper analysis and figuring out what's going on. But I mean, just on a most basic level, I'm hyped. I'm finally truly hyped. Like, I've been like, oh, that looks cool, or that looks cool, but I never really got fully there with Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon yet. This time I'm finally there.
Oh, I never lost the faith.
You gotta keep that faith. Totally
Yeah,
vibe.
I mean, with everyone going on saying it's just going to be the same game, it's like, it was just so depressing to see. I mean, enhanced versions, they typically don't sell as well as the main versions in the start of the new generation. It typically does about half, because people go in for the new Pokemon, let's face it.
Yeah.
But this time they are pushing the story even more, which is something they've clearly been wanting to do for quite a while. They've been building on this story with each generation, with each enhanced version of that generation. Like Red and Blue, the story was really basic. Gold and Silver, it was a bit stronger but still basic. Crystal, it added a little bit more. Then Ruby and Sapphire were more story focused. Then Emerald added a bit more, and so on and so on. Then Black and White's when it became truly story focused.
Yeah, and Black and White's really when people started paying attention, like, oh, story all of a sudden got really good. And they, most people didn't enjoy the story of X and Y, but they bounced back in a major way with Sun and Moon. And to see them sort of further enhanced beyond that with Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon is great to see. And I think another reason that a lot of people have been super excited for the Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon is because they know a Switch version is coming. They want the Switch version rather than stick with on the 3DS, which I kind of get to a degree, but this is still looking pretty good and probably a pretty great send-off to the 3DS era of Pokemon games.
Yeah, I completely agree. But the Switch version is a bit of a long way out, so people just need to be patient.
Yeah, with them working on a Switch version, I have a feeling it's probably... I don't know if we'll get another Pokemon game next year. That seems a little...
No, I wouldn't think so.
Yeah, I think they're going to want to put a little bit more time and effort into the eventual Switch version. Like, maybe we'll get teased of it on it, maybe not, hard to say. But, yeah, it's probably going to be a little ways off, but that's fine. As long as it makes for a good product, and seeing how they just evolve even more with their storytelling and what new tricks they'll try on the Switch, I'm totally down for.
Absolutely, me too. I just try to imagine these cutscenes in like full HD. It's like, oh, that would be so good. So I do get what people are getting at with that, but it looks fine to me. Yep,
I'm totally for it. So we'll see how it all turns out, but. Otherwise, you got any other thoughts on this new trailer?
No, just that it looks a lot darker, and that's not just because Necrozma absorbs light.
Yeah, it does. They're really pushing that edge of it. So we'll see what happens. But alright, I think that covers it for our Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon discussion. So thank you for watching, and if you like this video, be sure to like us on Facebook and Twitter at GameXplain. And Joe, where can they find you at?
You can find me at Serebii.net or on Twitter at Joe Merrick or at SerebiiNet.
Awesome. And of course, be sure to subscribe to GameXplain for more on Pokemon and other things gaming as well. Until next time, bye.